My parents told everyone I have severe cerebral palsy. I don't. I've never had it, but I've spent the last 10 years of my life convinced I did, until I didn't anymore. It started when I was 4. A fever, some clumsiness, a doctor's appointment that took a wrong turn. Mom described symptoms I didn't have: slurred speech, loss of motor control, cognitive decline. The pediatrician ordered tests. Everything came back normal, but Mom had already decided. She brought me back, insisted on more tests, different doctors. She described detailed seizures I'd never experienced, developmental regressions that never happened. Eventually, a tired doctor, eager to close the file, wrote it down. Cerebral palsy, progressive. Mom's eyes lit up when she read the diagnosis. Dad looked confused at first, then ashamed, then he stopped looking at me altogether. Within weeks, I was moved to the basement. Not a locked room like you'd think, something worse. A room that was accessible, as Mom put it. A hospital bed instead of the one I'd had upstairs. A bedpan instead of a bathroom. A feeding tube they installed even though I could eat. They said I'd choke. The doctors never questioned it because Mom had become very good at performing the role of a devoted parent of a disabled child. She dressed me in pull-ups during the day, changed them on a schedule that had nothing to do with need. She spoke about me in third person when people visited. She can't understand complex sentences anymore, she'd say while I sat there, watching her lie, understanding every word. The doctors nodded. They never asked me direct questions. Why would they? I was disabled. My older brother Marcus pretended the basement didn't exist. He'd come home from school and go straight to his room upstairs, headphones on. He couldn't see me. If he saw me, he'd have to acknowledge what was happening. And Mom had made it clear that acknowledging it would tear our family apart. She cried about it often. I'm doing this to protect you from her, she'd tell him, stroking his hair while I listened from downstairs. If anyone finds out how sick she is, they'll take her away. They'll take all of us apart. I learned to perform my diagnosis. When social workers visited, and they came twice, I let my body go limp. I made my words slurred. I didn't argue, because Mom had whispered to me the night before, if you tell them, they'll put you in an institution. At least here you have family. Do you want to be alone? I was 9. I believed her. The seizures she described in my medical file never happened, but the real damage, malnutrition from the feeding tube, muscle atrophy from disuse, social isolation from the constant darkness and stillness, that was real. The pain in my legs from lying in bed 18 hours a day was real. The despair of overhearing Marcus's friends visit upstairs, their laughter muffled through the floor, was real. There was a morning in spring when everything changed. A home health aide, new to our case, came to check on me. She did something no one else had done in a decade. She asked me a direct question. Not how is she today, but how are you? I broke. 8 years of performing disability just shattered. I told her everything, my voice shaky from disuse but clear, intelligible, completely normal. Her face went pale. The conversations that followed were between her and her supervisor. Behind closed doors upstairs, I heard raised voices, Mom crying. An ambulance was called, not for me, but for a psychiatric evaluation. Mom had been seeing psychiatrists herself, it turned out. A condition the doctors hadn't written down. A pattern of this happening before, to a younger sibling of hers decades ago. I was hospitalized for 2 weeks. They did scans, tests, physical therapy. There was nothing wrong with my brain. Nothing wrong with my body except the damage done by 10 years of confinement. A lawyer from Child Protective Services explained it slowly. Medical child abuse. Factitious disorder by proxy. 15 years of prison time. Mom's mental health required treatment she'd refused. Marcus won't talk to me now. He's 17, and he says I destroyed our family. He says I should have just stayed quiet, that I made everything worse by telling. But I'm in school now. Real school. I'm learning to walk without pain. Words come naturally again. And I'm alive in a way I wasn't for 10 years. Not because I was sick, but because someone finally looked at me and asked me directly, who are you really? I'm still learning the answer.